Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm so happy to have you here. I'm so happy that you decided to click on this video after all the videos out there. And let's just get into it. Today, I want to talk about the reality of the glass ceiling. And this kind of came to me just, I like to jot down video ideas and see what kind of hits my inspiration when I'm kind of going through them and thinking about what to film. And the reason why I chose this is because I kind of feel like it correlates with what I talked about last weekend. And so I just kind of want to explore the glass ceiling and what it is, what it means, and how we should be interacting with it. So let's just get into it immediately and start with part one, reality. So obviously, we're talking about the reality of the glass ceiling. So we need to talk about reality. And I think that there is a reality to there being limits to things. I think that it is very naive of us to go through life thinking that there is no room that we won't be allowed into, that there are no glass ceilings to break. I think that there are a plethora of reasons for this, whether it be like social class or race or gender. And there's so many reasons that you will be denied access to a space or denied connections or denied a position in life that you are qualified for or deserve. There is a reality to discrimination and doors being closed and not making the right connections and not being able to make connections because you don't have the access to a network that brings you to where you want to be. There's a reality to nepotism. There is a reality to luck and or random opportunity. And so I think to ignore that is extremely naive. I think to depending on what you are working towards or where you want to go, there is a lot that rides on it. And you might not have access to the things that you need, the tools that you need to be able to get to where you want to go. And I kind of just want to sit with that. I want to validate that. I want other people and for us to understand that we live in a world that is unfair, that is unequal, that equality is hard to come by and equity is rare. And so being able to be given the same opportunities or to be giving head start in life that comes at its own cost, there is a perspective to everything. And so I think that we should remember that. There is nuance to every situation. Though reality is tough, though it's hard, though it's scary, though there are extremely unfair aspects to it, embracing our own reality is so important to be able to take a step forward. I think that wanting to get somewhere, regardless of the opportunities that I am given, there is an expectation I think that all of us should have for ourselves to be able to step out of the life that we have, to be able to expand our comfort zones and to grow past the limits that people expect of us. But I think that we need to understand those limits in order to be able to step out beyond them and almost embrace them in order to carry on. Because I think that we should be coming from places of security and not insecurity. And I think that that starts with us coming to terms with who we are. And that is a journey in itself, but it can be tandem with the journey of the place that you want to go, you know? So moving on to part two, I feel like I spent like 30 seconds on that, but it's okay. Part two is why the glass ceiling. And I almost to some extent think that the glass ceiling is a red herring. I think that us fixating on what we believe to be impossible is not constructive at all. And in my last video, I talked about the impossible task. I talked about taking on tasks that you think that you will never achieve in your lifetime and just going for it because you can, because it's more about the journey than the destination. And I think that the glass ceiling can be considered an impossible task, but I think that there is the grass is always greener on the other side aspect to it. I think that there is a once I get here, I'll be happy kind of nuance to it. And because of that, we need to be aware because I think it can be used as a distraction. I think it can be used as a like once you break this glass ceiling, you will truly be happy. But if you haven't done the work before you even reach that glass ceiling, then how are you supposed to really embrace the opportunities that you're afforded once you've reached past it? And I think that we have seen so many conclusions that have come from many people's lives because money is not everything, you know? And I think that when you are at the bottom, you do think that money is everything. And that internal self work takes time, it takes effort, it takes looking in the mirror and really understanding who you are. It takes forgiving and growing and connecting and being vulnerable. And all of those things are extremely hard. And if your eyes are only set on what is above you and not where you are right now, it's going to be 10 times harder. So I think that we should spend time truly understanding who we are before we reach for the stars and try and chase someone we might not necessarily be. I think being secure in yourself is so important, especially these days. And it's very rare because we're always being told what being the it girl looks like, or what is in trend, what is being perpetuated throughout our society. Like clean girls out, messy girls in. We grow resentment and disdain towards these characteristics that don't necessarily represent ourselves. And I think it's kind of silly. And I think that there is a fun to silliness. Like I don't think that everything always needs to be that serious. I think that being overly serious about everything is exhausting, but I do think that we should be very aware of what is truly silly. Like I think that indulging in trends, indulging in friendships, indulging in all of those things are all fine and good, but we need to be aware of where we end and that trend starts, you know? So I think that motives are extremely important, and understanding your motives before you reach that glass ceiling is going to change your entire experience with reaching where you want to be. And I do kind of want to talk about the destination a little bit because I think that we all measure success in different ways. And I think that that is a good thing. But I do think that there is a overall consensus on what success looks like. And I think that is a bad thing to an extent. I think that it's okay for us to be like, oh, that is a huge achievement. You got your doctorates. That is a huge achievement. You booked that huge movie. That is success. But I think that we should understand that success is different to the individual person. People get fulfilled from different things. People find happiness and fulfillment from different things. And what is me to judge? You know, what am I when I am judging someone else's fulfillment and saying, oh, my fulfillment's better than yours, or like the things that I am chasing are more respectable than yours? I think that that is extremely cruel almost to try and put everyone in the same box because you don't know what's going on up here. You haven't been through their life journey and you don't know why they think that this thing is very important. And I think just having basic respect for the people around you is really important, and having respect for yourself, because I think that instead of force, like if I was to walk up and force someone else into my box, that would be considered disrespectful. So why am I going to myself and trying to fit myself in the box that society has made for me? That is also very disrespectful to myself. And I think that this is extremely important in a society that tells you so much. It tells you what you should be, where you should be, how you should be. And independently thinking and analyzing yourself is so rare these days, because why bother when you don't even know where you want to go, you know? Yeah, I think that our motives need to come from a secure place in order for us to truly be fulfilled at the end of the road. And that the end of the road might not look the way that you think or that you thought it would look. Because, like I said, success looks different for everyone. And so it is very hard to let go of ideologies that or cultural scripts that society gives to you and tells you that you should follow. But I think that what is the point if you don't understand it or if you don't want it? I don't think that anyone, whether it be religion or personal beliefs and values or morals, I don't think anyone should blindly follow something just because everyone else is telling you that this is right or like this is what you should do. I think that we should understand what we're doing, what we're saying, how we're acting, what we believe. And so I think that being secure in those beliefs, being secure in the direction that you want your life to go is so important in order for us to thrive and in order for us to be secure and find true fulfillment in life. Okay, so I think that I kind of covered everything. I think that the glass ceiling can be a distraction and it can be a little bit, it might not necessarily look the way that you thought it would. It might seem obvious to you from day one, but allow it to pivot, allow yourself to chase the things that you truly want to and not what society says you should want. And finally, part 3, I want to talk about application. There are many different ways to look at this, and I kind of put it as big wants and little wants, and I don't know if I really want to stick by that, but that's what I'm going to say for the sake of this video. So I I want to challenge you to listen to yourself, and I have found that in my life, I'll be sitting down, I'll be thinking, I'm bored. What should I do? And there is a big want: scroll on social media, watch a YouTube video, chill, just kind of like brain rot. And then there will be a little want. And the little want is always something like write or read or create something, draw, or do something creative that I really love, film a video. And I, more times than not, go with the big want because it feels overwhelming. It's like, this is what I want to do. But I do think that the big want is almost a stalling tactic because of the pressures of perfectionism, of success, of doing something that truly matters. And I want to challenge you to sit down and think about those little ones. And if you don't have any, I encourage you to try new things because I think that can be a little want in itself if nothing is completely like jumping at you and apparent. And I think in the same way, there's a way to look at this on a big scale. And for a really long time, I wanted to be famous, like Sabrina Carpenter famous. I love what she does, like the dancing on the stage and the performing. I think it's mesmerizing. I think it's amazing. And there is a obvious want, but I think behind that want of wanting to be famous is a smaller want. And that want is about connection and recognition and being able to be creative for a career. And that might never happen for me, those little wants or like those small things behind the big I want to be famous might never happen for me, but and being famous might never happen for me. But I realized that the big want of being famous came from other insecurities that I needed to work on and I needed to analyze. And I've kind of grown past wanting to be someone else because I love who I've become and who I am. But I think there are normal feelings of almost like jealousy or envy that you feel towards others that you also kind of need to work on individually. I think that you can make a huge breakthrough and still struggle with that same area. There are people in life who will try and understand you, but I think it is so important that we try and understand ourselves. I think it's so important that we sit down with ourselves and truly reflect on who we are and where those behaviors and wants and fears come from in order to break free from them so that they don't control us. And I think that that is a part of what the glass ceiling is all about. I think that it's not about the ceiling, it's about us finding ourselves and what we want and where we want to end up and simplifying it into something that's not may not necessarily be what society thinks is amazing, but what you think is amazing. That needs to be enough, you know? Because at the end of the day, society will tell you a lot of things, but I think it's reaching the conclusion that whatever society says happiness is isn't necessarily happiness for you. I think that, like I said in my intro, we should learn to find joy in the little things and kind of simplify our lives in a way that we can indulge and live in the moment and it's not as big and scary as everything else truly seems. So, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I'm so happy to anyone who took the time to watch. I really liked this. I loved this conversation, and maybe I'll revisit it in the future. I love the idea of coming back to stuff like this and truly like analyzing it until it's dead. I love overanalyzing things. So, if you also do, please do so in the comments. I ask you to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next weekend. Bye.